So then we'll start.
And
I'll
I might have
call-
to step out for a minute in about 10 minutes, but it'll be brief.
Okay, so you're going to go and then come back?
Yeah,
Okay, so
I'll
if there's
be here.
anything-
It's only going to be for a minute, so I'll be here and then I'll be back.
All right, if there's anything specific we need from you or need to catch you up on, we will.
Okay, I'll just
But
turn my camera off when I'm not here.
Okay, and I will call the meeting to order at 7:04. Does anybody have a flag?
No.
Oh, Kathy's getting her flag.
Okay.
What a troop.
Yay.
It works.
So please,
There you go.
so
It's recognizable.
yes, please join me in the pledge. I
Pledge
pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the flag.
United States of America,
United States of
States
to the
America,
republic for which it stands, one nation, under
for which
God,
it stands,
indivisible,
One nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
all.
Again, it's a good thing we're not singing.
Let's not get crazy.
I'd have to get my earmuffs.
So, sorry for that noise, my stupid clock here.
Well, my phone just started ringing, so I'm muting it, and then
Yeah.
now we'll get settled. What?
Dance before you start. Happy birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
maybe
Yeah.
we should sing.
She's 21 again, you know?
Thank you. You shouldn't sing,
No, we shouldn't. No.
but I thought Dr. Carver was going to make cake, but she's not here, so oh well. Another time we'll do cake. But thank you. Unfortunately, this is the part of my day that wasn't at the beach, so I had to come back for it. So you can see from the background, that's not virtual. I am at home. So thanks for that. And public input, nope. And correspondence, nope. And approval of meeting minutes from our regular meeting. I make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes from our meeting of March 9, 2021.
I'll second that.
Okay, who was that, Roy?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Roy. And does anybody have anything that they saw needs to be corrected or updated? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. And nobody needs to abstain because you were all here last time, I think, right? Yeah, Bob was here. Were you here last time, Bob? Yeah, you were.
Yep.
I can't keep track. So I guess we could just go right into our school projects, and Ken did put together a written update. And so Ken, I don't think you need to go over the entire report, but if you could just hit up some high points and let us know if there's any issues that we need to know about, problems, etc.
Okay, so for Rockwell, the terrazzo sample came in and Joe approved it today. So we'll be talking with that subcontractor to see if we can get them started over at Rockwell while they're working on the other sample. The terrazzo sample needs to have a change made. It had a little bit too much red in it. So he's got to tone it down to a little bit more of a brownish color. And sticking with Rockwell, the entrance column covers that we have to extend are ordered and due the last week of March. So we'll get those installed then. I mentioned that the gym panel was changed out, so that's ready. So the roofer at Rockwell has counter flashing, the receiver at the walls, and he has to do the RTU units. He's working on a JM punch list, and then he'll go on to do the walk pads. We're working on the delegated design calcs for both schools. We're going to be proceeding at the boiler room at Rockwell for the SKS 8 sketch. Filter change is going to happen at both schools. There was a schedule sent out for the days that they're going to be going through what rooms at what, each school by floor. So that'll be taking place after school gets out around 1 o'clock. In Rockwell, those interior lights are shipping on the 2nd. We're pouring the concrete piers at the chillers sound panel Thursday. And we'll be working on the stone at the timber rail. He's putting this one off until vacation week because of all the cars and everything. So he doesn't have any accidents. They were working on the putting in the permanent signposts today at Rockwell, so those are going in. Can move to Johnson, or if there's no questions for Rockwell.
So I actually do. You said about the design calcs and all. That's all for the boiler room? Those,
It's related. It's the yeah, the contractors are required to submit the calcs for all their hangars and supports.
right. So not just for the boiler room, for everything.
Correct.
And so this doesn't have anything to do with the whole boiler room trusses stuff being hung from there. Is that still something that's?
It will, and what we're doing will be taking care of that situation. So there won't be any problems with that area.
So that's a part of kind of stuff that has to be done for everything. But it also is going to come up with some solutions for specifically for the pipes in the boiler room.
Correct. That's where the most concentrated loads are, and the whole building. I mean, but yeah, it will be for everywhere.
Anybody else have any Rockwell questions?
Yes, I do. Ken, is there a possibility I can get a list of all the filters? You know why? Because I'm going to be on the hook for the next filter change, and I need to make ready, my purchasing for these filters.
Yes, I'll get that for you.
Actually, both schools, if you could. I mean,
Sure.
I could look it up, but if you have it handy, because you're doing them now, it'd be a lot of time saving.
Yeah, definitely. I'll ask him to get me that list.
Okay.
Hey, Nancy, I had a question for Bob and actually Ken. But my concern about how do you handle the warranties as far as going forward? And specifically, I'm thinking about the roof one. And Ken, I'm kind of asking the same question as far as how is that, handled in the future, and who's, how do we get things, if we do have a leak?
So right now it's still under the contractor,
Yeah.
and so the warranty hasn't started. And when they finish the punch list items and the walk pads for Rockwell, JM will do a final walkthrough, and then they'll issue the warranty at that time.
Okay, and then I wanted to take it to the next step because I'm reading that the solar project is ready to get going on that. And, I've had my concerns all along as far as the warranty, and I just, I'm kind of asking you, Bob, as far as how, or whoever, how do we handle that? Or is this something that we don't worry about, or, where does it go?
No, what my plans are, Roy, is the town of Bethel has a contract with offshore construction.
Yeah.
And they monitor the conditions of all the roofs, to include the town roofs as well.
Okay,
So what I'm going to do prior to the solar panels coming up, the ballast is coming up. I want them to at least look at the roof and get a baseline on what the condition is of the roof right then and there. And then this way here, moving forward, we could tell if there's any, any damage caused by the ballast. But yeah, that's
Okay.
my plan to bring offshore in. But I have a question for Ken. Hey, Ken, what about the parts of the roof that were not touched by the construction? Do I should be bringing offshore in to look at those as well?
Parts of the roof, what parts are you talking about, Bob?
Well, on both Rockwell and Johnson, there's parts of the roof that were not changed, correct?
No, we did them all. Every-
Oh,
no.
100%?
All new roof.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, then forget my question.
Okay.
So, and as far as the solar goes, I know there's some back and forth still between solar, the company that's doing the installation, and the Energy Commission. And I guess there's some documents that need to be submitted. So Marty's involved too. And I guess they're going back and forth with kind of about, we talked about this at one of the Thursday meetings where the solar people are saying, well, I think it kind of has to do with the pipes being hung from the trusses in that one section of the boiler room at Rockwell. Yet if that's a first floor, like a 1-story area, I don't know why they would be putting solar panels there. I thought they were going to be putting them on the high roof, but I don't know. So there's some back and forth going on with that. And we don't need to get into all of that right now because we want it to be like they're supposed to be taking care of it. It's not
Right.
our thing.
Yep.
But we do want to make sure that the warranties are in place. And that, like Bob, I think, you know, having them do that kind of inspection, and then are you going to have them give you a report of some sort?
Right.
So that you have that, like, sort of, in a way, it's like an as-built report that says the roof was in this condition. And if somebody finds a hole in it or something, then we have something to use to kind of go back to them and say, now you've got to fix this.
Right, that's why I wanted to bring offshore in, because I was under the impression there was still some of the old roof left, but hearing that now, which is good, offshore, or at least look at what the current condition is. And then after they put those ballasts on the roof with the solar panels, then we can monitor it, because they come in, I believe 2 times a year. And then one of the visits, they check all the gutters. So this is something that we pay for. We split the cost between the Board of Ed and the town of Bethel for this roof warranty service.
And will there be some sort of report, kind of like a physical printed statement that says the roof's in this condition?
Well, we're gonna have to ask for that, because normally all they send me is an update if they have a flash that they had to reseal, or if they had a building joint they had to take care of. Normally they don't go into any excruciating detail, but I think for Rockwell Johnson, maybe we should have them do that.
Yeah, especially with a solar installation.
Yep.
Right, but I mean, I'd like to make sure though that you know, the solar people at least, or someone's got to research the fact that it's not going to avoid the JM warranty.
Well, they stated that's not, but
Okay.
I think that's a Marty question, isn't it?
Well, I thought we asked JM and they said it wouldn't. And I thought we asked the solar people and they said it wouldn't.
But it probably should be in writing though, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping for, Bob. That's exactly what, you know, we hear it all the time, but then when there's a leak and someone
Right.
calls, no one knows anything.
Right. Well, last month when they were here, they were scoping out the track house because they're going to start with that building first.
Right.
And I believe, I got to check my notes, but I believe in a couple of weeks, I'm going to start taking delivery of the material. And it's going to be stored in the back parking lot of the high school for the track house.
Good.
So we'll be able to see exactly what this ballast type of setup looks like.
Good. So then, Ken, question for you. If the JM punch list is being worked on, do they do some sort of, when they give you the warranty, is there some sort of something in writing saying the roof's in great condition?
They'll provide a certificate and a embossed warranty. So
Okay,
when you get that, there won't be outstanding punch list items because they won't issue the warranty without.
okay,
completed.
Good.
all right, good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. So anything else on Rockwell for Ken and or Jim, or should we jump into Johnson?
I'm good.
Okay, go with Johnson there, Ken.
Okay, so we're gonna get that sample as soon as we can for Johnson. Terrazzo. The admin wall graphic, I'm still talking with the installer on if he's gonna make an attempt to repair it or if it's just gonna be replaced. I've got the ship date for the calf, the 29th of March. The media center was the 5th and 9th, and the supplier's trying to work on a better date. I explained our situation with wanting to make sure we had that installed by the 17th. The vestibule, this is the main entrance. They've got some of the panels coming for the exterior of the canopy. They did have another person in their shop, the foreman, come down with COVID. So we're doing the best we can to keep that going so that we can get some panels going. But right now, he doesn't have all the panels ready to go. So he will start on the outside panels that he has.
So does that shut their shop down again?
Yeah, it did. It may not have shut everything down, but it has stopped the production of the panels that go on the ceiling of the
Okay.
canopy.
And we don't know how that's going to affect the kind of proposed schedule of trying to get it all done or get a lot of it that you had planned done by the week after the break so that the tours can happen.
Correct.
Okay.
So we've got the gutter that we've got a change order that he's working on some quantities. The gym stage door and interior railings need to be painted. Filter changes we talked about, and then the field startup, or the first week of April we were looking at. And that's what I have right now. We've got some work that we're going to be doing for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, mostly at Johnson, but some of it's going to be at Rockwell. During the half days, we're going to be cleaning out some of the rooms that were used for storage for materials for the canopy, and some of the other rooms that need flooring sealed. So we and some miscellaneous work in a lot of storage rooms, chair storage, sprinkler room, custodian room. So that sort of thing, and going through and doing a lot of punch list items and getting the contractors to finish up both schools. That's about it.
So with the terrazzo, you still need the, did you say it was Johnson that you needed to redo the sample to match the color better?
Yes.
Okay. But how do you think that's going to affect the schedule that you had originally laid out like last week?
I think they probably have done the legwork now for getting the sample together, and like even last week when they noticed in-house that they didn't think the sample was good enough, they were able to turn it over the next day. So I don't think we're going to lose too much time on that end. So
And so does it look like the parts that Dr. Carver wanted to have done by or over the spring break will be pretty much in place?
yeah, I don't think we're in jeopardy yet because we've only lost a day. So,
Yep.
so I think we're going to be still achievable in getting in meeting it with those dates. And he's working pretty good with us on making sure it happens. So we're still looking pretty good there.
Okay, because I know that was a question Dr. Carver had last week during the Thursday meeting was, are we going to make the her proposed deadline of being able to have a lot of it done, especially the vestibule, so they could do the tours after the spring break. So that looks like we could still look for that completion.
You have two things in jeopardy there, Nancy. One is the panels, and the only reason we're
Right.
getting fascia panels now is because they were already ready. He was scheduled to come out this week with everything.
Right.
So with his COVID shutdown, if you said in the conversation that I had with him this morning, if you said, when his 2 weeks started, I still think we can be out there that week of the 5th, starting that panel install. So that'll probably be closer. I'd like to think we can get the terrazzo sample turned around, and I'm not going after Joe, but the other Joe approved the sample at Johnson. So maybe we'll take him.
He did at first, and then he came around. It's really
So-
far off in the color, and I think it'll be.
Joe, you did a nice job with the last one, Joe. I'm just kidding. But so we've got to get that sample turned around. So those are the two items that would be in jeopardy there as far as
Right.
timing goes.
Yeah,
And we haven't
okay.
seen this terrazzo guy work before, so I'd like to get him started sooner rather than later.
And he kind of has that concept of dates in mind, and he's working with us on that.
Seems to be, yes.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Betsy?
Yeah, go ahead, David.
What's our target or Dr. Carver's target date for public tours?
The weekend of April 17th and 18th.
The weekend.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
week before that is the spring break, so there are no students or staff in the schools. So we are hopeful that that we can be used to finish up any punch list items that are out there, and perhaps the terrazzo people can hit those vestibule areas as a priority.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah, they're not specifically public tours, Dave. They're for parents. I think that she's going to put it out to parents, and they've got to make appointments, and so it's not going to be everyone in the town of Bethel showing up to get a little walk around in the school. And Bob, what do you got?
Yeah, just don't forget me, guys. I still have to do stuff in that school during that week shutdown.
Yep.
So I can't have a lot of traffic walking around. It's got to be a little bit more coordinated.
Well, this is
Yep.
Saturday and Sunday, right?
Right, but Bob needs to have some time that week while the break is happening to do the cleaning he usually does during spring break, cleaning, polishing, other things that he normally does.
It's refreshing the building. Yeah.
Yeah, so he can't be having, get the floors polished and then somebody goes wandering over them with materials and making a mess. And we had talked about this last Thursday where there'd be some coordination between Rizzo and Bob and his staff so that the work that needs to be done by construction gets done, but that Bob has his areas too, that he can get his work done. Okay, anything else? Questions or anything for Jim or Ken on either of the two schools as far as construction goes?
Well, I actually have one. Hey, Ken, are you planning on running a sweeper through the parking lot? Or is that something you want me to coordinate on my end?
I can talk to earth movers and see what they can do for us.
All right.
And so the site work that you're saying, you got the field work, so that's a kind of in the back of Johnson starting that first week of April, not the full first full week of April, or mid week, that is. Will there be any site work going on at Rockwell, like the bus loop or anything at that point, or?
We're
when do
talking
we-
about getting the paving done the week of April break. So they were talking about paving that at that time.
The only problem with that, Nancy, is that paving of Johnson, they really should be done at the same time. So it's one more mobilization of paving.
Right.
As long as nobody has an issue with that Rockwell entrance, I'm sure earth movers would rather just mobilize to pave those two locations as opposed to trying to
Right,
pave one and the other. He was set up for April 12th to do those, but that doesn't account for the soccer field work and everything else.
right. Because I guess I was looking at, that the timing for doing those parent tours and not having like a mess. Since the work at Johnson's happening way in the back, there won't be so much going on towards the front, and there should be plenty of, okay parking at Rockwell for those tours too. So we're not going to be having site work going on in areas where they may need to park when they start doing those tours, correct?
Yeah, no, this shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I would say, sure, if you can coordinate doing the asphalt all at the same time, that would be great. Anything else for Ken or Jim on the construction part? I mean, obviously, if we think of something later on, we'll bring it up. But I think then we can, I don't think we need to look at any kind of schedule specifically, because we did go over a few schedule things, and a lot of them are indicated on the report. So I think we can move on to technology.
Yep. So on the technology side, D'Agostino was out last week, Monday to punch list. They issued a punch list. By the end of the week, we've distributed the punch list to the AV contractor, the security contractor, the phone contractor, and also back to Rizzo to share with Ferguson, because there were some base building issues as well. So everybody should be working out the details of their punch list. I know in terms of ESC, they're good on the security side, other than some remaining work in the Johnson vestibule, and then also the installation of the visitor management system. I think we're waiting to have a discussion with them about the mounting issue, Bob. And then because they have the equipment, they're just waiting for us to coordinate how they're actually going to install it. And then on the AV side, ESC does not want to come back, in dribs and drabs to do things. They're still waiting for some base building work to be done at Rockwell. We did have the wall pads modified so they can hang the speakers, but we still need the wall cord and pathways put in to where the audiovisual cabinet is located in the gym storage room. So that needs to be done. And apparently I just saw an email this week, either yesterday or today, that at Johnson, there's still some problems with the screen in the cafeteria, or is it the connection for the projector? Something there on the AV side that we need to work with Rizzo to get fixed.
The cafeteria, he's got a part on order
Okay.
at Johnson. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see where that part is tomorrow. He shouldn't be that far off. We should be able to get that installed.
Yeah, it's just that the AV crew will come and do a lot of work. They don't want to come and do one thing and then come the next day and do the other thing. So we're trying to coordinate all the base building stuff being done so that ESC can return and finish their the AV work. So, but in general, we're finding monitors as we go along, and I think operationally or usability wise, I think everything is fine, is workable right now at both schools in terms of AV systems.
But when you say finding monitors, are you finding ones that need to be upgraded, or are they missing and you found them in a closet and now you can install them, or?
Yes, actually now, we had talked a couple of times during the Thursday meetings about there being 3 monitors still in boxes in a storage room at Johnson. Now apparently there are actually 6 monitors, and which times out with the monitors on the punch list that are not installed or operational. So that's good. We found the monitors. It's like a surprise, I guess, every time you open a storage closet to see what you got. So, but yeah, at least everything is identified and ready to be resolved. And as I said, punch list work is ongoing as well.
Okay. Okay. Any questions or anything for Geraldine on the technology parts? Budget.
Where was I? Nope, that's not where I was. Stop share. Okay. All right, budget. Johnson. So at Johnson School, after booking all the invoices and the application for payment from Rizzo from last month, we are at Johnson, billed out about 89% of the entire project budget and 93% of construction. And again, as we have been trending, there is still about $1,623,000 in combined contingency left at Johnson. At Rockwell, similarly, we're billed out on the total project to about 93%, construction at 95%, and then we're still trending just about $450,000 over budget on contingency. And as a combined effort, we see that right now we're looking at a combined contingency today of 1.173 million, but taking into consideration these projected expenditures, we're trending right now to be about $634,000 under budget. A lot of that we will deal with today. We have a number of PCOs that we're going to talk about today. Some that we're recommending be adopted, some that I think the building committee needs to discuss, and they are the bigger costs, obviously. And then we still obviously have some under review, and then the typical pending changes, pending additional services, the pending Rockwell boiler room floor abatement, and then some small amount of credits that we still haven't adjusted the budget for. So if there are any questions about our trends, otherwise.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if anybody has any questions specifically about each school budget or about this cash flow analysis that Geraldine's been great about keeping up with for us. We still look like we're in okay shape.
We do look like we're in okay shape.
Looks like 10% under budget.
About, yeah.
1%.
1% under budget.
1%.
1%.
Yeah.
It's just a decimal.
Yeah.
Too many zeros for me to cope with.
Which is still a good thing, and
Yep.
we hope we can stay there. Yet there's a bunch of things that are projected that we don't know how and where they're going to go yet. So both on the debit and the credit side. So
Correct.
but we keep an eye on them and make sure we don't go beyond. So any other questions about budget stuff before we move into before we do change orders, we can go out of order because our bullets are just proposals. And if we do the boiler room, John Menti, is there anything new we need to know about? You had given us an update last time, so I didn't know if there was more.
Nothing, no update as of today at all.
Okay. Okay, thanks. So then we've got change orders, which is going to be fun.
And I think I want to start with change orders that we, so there are some change orders that we want to recommend for approval, and I think I'd like to start with those, and then we can talk about the other change orders in more depth, I think. So at Johnson, we have so this is the change order log. At Johnson, we have, it's still small. At Johnson, we have 2 change orders to recommend for approval. One is to it finalizes the costs for the concrete and the replacement tile flooring where we took the sanitary lines up. You had previously approved a not to exceed of $2,800 so that we could go ahead with the concrete replacement. But we had asked Higgins to go back and use attic stock for the materials for the tile and to look again at the labor numbers. And they ended up doing the work on a time and material basis, which reduced their installation hour estimate as well. So we're going to look at that, that PCO. Let's see, right now. Johnson. So again, we had $2,172.16 for the tile replacement and $2,645 for the concrete replacement. And then with markups, the total for this change order is $5,058.02.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so Dave makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And that's change order number. I can't see the number, but Kathy can get 114 in the amount of $5,058.02.
Yeah, second it.
Okay, so Gil seconds, and for discussion, I just a clarification for myself. So the concrete, we had done the not to exceed amount, so that came in a little under. Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep. And so the Higgins amount is also less than what they had originally, not just with the materials, because we didn't have to buy any materials, but with the.
Correct. I could pull up the old one, but you can see even on their tabulation, they did cross out the material costs. I think originally we had they had estimated needing 80 tiles or something like that. And
Yeah.
So they pulled that cost out. And their 17 hours to do the work, I think, was also less than they had originally projected before the work started. So they actually spent 17 hours, and so this cost is less. I'm gonna jump out there and say I think the cost before was something like 8,000 in the 8,000s. So I think it was considered.
Yeah, I think I was remembering 7 or 8, something like that. So, okay. Does anybody have any other questions on this, comments, etc.? Are we ready to vote on it? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Okay, we're good with that.
Now the next PCO that we wanted to present for approval at Johnson is for the relocation of the dumpster pad and the regrading of the slope down to the softball field. This is PCO 125, and it is in the amount of $11,068. So let's take a look at that one. This is all earth movers. And we had carried in our sort of budget projection, in our cash flow projection, I had actually carried about $30,000 for this work. We had carried it as 2 separate items, $10,000 for the dumpster pad, or $10,000 for the grading. And at that point, there was supposed to be a retaining wall and everything. And then $20,000 for the dumpster relocation. At one point, we thought we were going to move it over by the school. So in terms of budget projections, this this final cost is less than we had contemplated earlier when we had more pieces. So right now we are just pulling the dumpster pad towards the drive. It's going to be reduced in size, and then the slope behind it will be graded with no retaining wall. And, you know, at a 1-to-4 slope that should be maintainable by Bob's crew or by Parks and Rec, whoever maintains that slope. So,
Right.
Motion to approve.
So Dave makes a motion to approve change order number 125. We've got a second from
I'll second it.
Gill in the amount of $11,068. And so this is in response to the bulletin that was put out by, and the sort of design that was put out by Perkins Eastman and/or did Malone and McBroom had some in it too?
that's correct.
Rona McBroom did the sketch, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And are they just getting rid of the whole dumpster pad, or are they picking it up and moving it somewhere?
They're,
The new pad, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah,
They're getting
okay,
rid of it, yeah.
they're chunking it up and getting rid of it.
got it, okay. And this is something they can get into pretty much when they start working on all the other stuff.
My hope would be that this actually could be done during spring break, so that this is done, you know, so nobody should need to be using that area of the drive. It'll be before they put in the
Start on the field, yeah.
emergency drive. They'll be working on the field, but you know, hopefully they could do this when the parking lots are relatively empty during spring break, and it could be, I would hope, if we can schedule it that way, it would be done in time for the tours as well. So we might not have the emergency drive paved at that point, but at least the dumpster pad would be settled. Potentially the fence, you know, there's a fence around it, around the pad that could go up. You know, we could finish that area before end of April as well.
Okay, any other questions, comments on this? I think we should be good to go. So we'll vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Does anybody opposed? Done.
Now, I do have one change order that is not, it doesn't just obviously doesn't come through Rizzo. This is the cost from United Alarm to add the wireless keypad that we talked about at Rockwell, where the base building design showed the alarm keypad in the front office, and we really need it back at the receiving area, exterior door. If you recall, we had Ferguson price the hardwired version to the tune of like $4,500, and Bob suggested we look for a wireless product. D'Agostino specified a wireless product, and we had Bob price it out with United Alarm. It's only $1,090.47 for the product and the installation and the programming. So we're asking you to approve this change rather than having it run through Ferguson as part of the hardwired system.
Motion to approve that.
Okay, who was that, Roy?
Yep.
Okay, so Roy makes the motion to approve this. I guess it's a proposal from, not really a change order through Rizzo, but a proposal from United Alarm for the wireless keypad in the amount of $1,090.47.
Sense.
Second.
Second from Dave Olson. And this is like, Ferguson's not going to get crazy about this. We'll just do it.
They can't get, well, yes, the owner has the right to do work while the subcontractors are on site. This is not part of, does not invalidate their permit or affect their permitted work at any point. It doesn't tap into their system. We should be allowed to do it, and I would have United Alarm come out and do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, okay.
They're actually targeting this week.
Okay, good.
Good. All right. So any other questions or comments on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done with that.
Now, we have change orders at both schools that we've been batting back and forth for the washer and dryer, the addition of washer and dryer locations. This is the PCO log for Johnson. As you can see here on PCO 121, we have gotten to the point where even with, even specifying a ventless dryer, so we don't have to put in the vent, penetrate the roof, and we're saving some money on some, wall repair costs. Even at that, we are still looking at a cost of just under $22,000 to provide the plumbing and the electrical for the washing machine, and then the electrical for the dryer. We're sort of at a stalemate on the project side. That appears to me to be just a ridiculous cost to put the infrastructure in for a washer and a dryer. And it does not, you can barely, well, maybe you can see it. We're also looking at about $1,800 worth of washer and dryer cost. That is not in this amount.
What's the washer and dryer used for?
It's got a lot of uses. Who's that, John?
Yeah.
We clean our own mops. We don't buy new ones. We clean our own mops, and we have dustless rags that we have to wash, and for use of the custodial.
That to me is $22,000.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. That's
a lot of trips to the laundromat.
So my question, if you could remind me, and maybe all of us, if this is something, Bob, that you do on a regular basis, why wasn't it part of the original plan?
Well, they took one out.
Yeah,
We had them there.
I understand. Because it looks like part of the cost, the large cost is basically change orders, but we also are looking at, is it a long run from where it has to go? And would it have been a whole lot less if, it would have been part of the project cost, yes. At least we would have known about it. And is it a long run of both the electric and plumbing to get to where they've got to go?
Well, I have my opinion, but no, it's not actually. The plumbing it backs up the plumbing.
The location
Backed up the waste.
restrooms, yes. And there might be I know that these costs actually could be reduced slightly. I don't remember if it's Rockwell or Johnson. There is some thought that there could be a closer electrical panel to pull the circuit to, but only at one school. But I think a lot of it is because it's rework.
Right.
I think Ken may have expressed this earlier. It's just the subs don't really want to do it, right? They're already on their way out, and now we're asking them for additional kind of major work in one area. So here at Johnson, it's $22,000. At Rockwell, the same scope is about $24,000.
Right.
So
Higher still.
Do you want a quote?
Well, that was going to be my recommendation is, can we get your plumber and your electrician and do this when those subs, clear out?
That might be something.
Well worth looking at it that way, Bob, because that just seems ludicrous.
Yeah, I won't use gold fixtures. I'll use copper.
Platinum.
Yeah.
Plastic, anything. So I think maybe that might be something to look into, and but then you'll also have to deal with if holes are made in walls or wherever, those repairs will have to be done also. And so then who do we have do that?
Well, the Rockwell one scares me because we can't drill into any holes at Rockwell.
You can't drill into the block walls.
Right.
Right.
That one there kind of makes me a little leery, but.
I think they're both backed up to new wall, which are JIP.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, repeat that, Joe?
Both the washer and dryers in both schools are backed up to new walls
Oh, okay. All right.
that are JIP board
Good.
and stud. So the block issue is not an issue.
But Bob, do you have a concern for where the stuff gets run up to that point? Like, is it going a ways away and you've got to put conduit and drill into the walls? And
No, no, it's just that I didn't want to go through a existing wall. But
Right,
if it's
okay.
a new wall, I have no concerns.
Okay,
I'll, if you don't mind, I'll start getting some quotes for each school. I'll get them separate quotes.
definitely do
Yeah.
that. But again, if you've got, drywall that has to be cut out or anything, the repairs to that has to be figured into the cost also. And then who's going to do that?
Okay, but the people I use kind of do more than just plumbing.
Okay.
So I'm kind of used to this already.
So Bob,
Well-
do you need the drawings? Perkins Eastman issued a bulletin that showed the changes to all those systems. So do you want? I'll
It
forward
wouldn't
you.
hurt to have it, yeah.
Okay.
The dryer outlet is a dryer outlet. Water line, hot and cold is a hot and cold water line. It's just to be able to pick it up and tie into it. That'd be helpful.
Yeah. And I'll include that Joe, that email I think you sent from DTC suggesting which panel.
Right, I think it was Rockwell that they could go to the kitchen panel that there was
Kitchen panel
spares.
had room, yeah. All right, then similarly, so at Johnson and at Rockwell, we've been presented with change orders. Here at Johnson, it's change order 122 for the cost of building and site cleanup, which is something that has been happening all along on the project, obviously. In the GMP, the cleanup was being done through Verdi, and it was on an allowance basis. So when the money ran out for cleanup. What we're being presented with now is the cost of cleanup at each school from October through January and February at two different schools. Obviously, it's February at Johnson. It's I think it was only January at Rockwell or something like that. And of course, this is due to the fact that construction was originally expected to be completed, in September, October, but it was not. And so additional time was required for cleaning of the building and site. And here at Johnson, the total of all of that cleanup time came to over $60,000.
Wow.
At Rockwell, it's only $20,000. So I present these two PCOs to you for discussion. My initial reaction is that that's a lot of money for cleaning up. And also, in my opinion, part, if not all of the reason that we are still cleaning the building from October through February is because of the inability of the construction manager to get the job done by October when it was originally scheduled to be completed. I will follow up by saying that all of this work has obviously been done. The hours have been spent, the cleanup has happened. These are time and material PCOs presented with all the labor backup. And how you would like to handle this.
How would we like to handle it? We'd like to throw it out the window. So the cleanup on an ongoing basis, daily, weekly, or whatever, during construction, more different subs responsible for cleaning up their own spaces that they worked in? Or was there one company that was responsible for cleaning the entire building on a regular basis? I need a reminder on that.
So the contractors are responsible for taking their large material directly to the dumpsters. But the cleanup was, they would fill trash cans located, around the job. And the cleanup people would also do sweeping throughout the job. So that's basically what it is bringing the materials to the dumpster. So even though things may have run over a little bit, you still would have had the same volume of trash virtue of building. You still have to build it. So whether you had the material in the trash pile in December or October, it still would have been in the trash pile and it still would have expended hours to clean it up. So that's really what it comes down to, is this is what it took to keep the job clean and safe.
So Enviro consultants were responsible for that kind of cleanup throughout the entire job, or just for this time period?
No, we ended up having them do it after Verdi was done. We found it a lot easier to get people to come when we needed them. And it includes a forklift, which you had to have on the site for various reasons, and offloading materials, and it was just you know, a lot of cleanup with the amount of work that we had at the end.
So Ken, in saying that this would have been a part of general construction, whether the job was completed 6 months ago or now,
Right.
anybody who had to think about including cleanup in their cost of putting together a bid for the job partly did it based on a time frame. I'm guessing a time frame, meaning it was supposed to be done months ago rather than now. So I can see on one hand where you say that they would have been part of, junk still had to be taken out to the dumpster. But if it was being taken out to the dumpster on a regular basis throughout the job, finishing the job in October, it's different than adding in a bunch more.
Instead of having one guy.
The part that's missing out of that, Nancy, is this isn't for the subs that had to do the cleanup. This is for the physical cleanup itself, which was what the allowance that Verdi had for the job.
Right, I understand that. But there were still subs doing work on the jobs. And as Ken, I believe Ken said that the subs were responsible for cleaning up their own areas and putting their own big crap in the dumpster. And this was smaller cleanups of smaller areas and moving anything that was placed in the periodic garbage cans that were all over the place.
Not periodic, daily, and quite a bit. It's a construction site, so there's going to be quite a bit of debris that's generated and centered piled by all the trades that then have to be brought to the dumpster.
And did this include cleanup in areas of the school that were being occupied, or just in construction areas?
I would say just the construction areas.
That's just a lot.
So Nancy, is your question simply that this project end cleanup had to be done whether it was done before October or now?
That's part of my question.
So Ken, what kind of answer do we have for that?
The question on whether you would have had to pay for it in October or now, I believe yes.
The same amount? The same amount of cleanup?
I think you would have just, instead of, we had one guy here and there, and sometimes we had two, because Rockwell was going along pretty good too. We would have had to have more manpower.
So what do we have in this $60,000 cost? What's our manpower there?
Well, there
Sometimes,
are 66 additional days there. And like Ken said, for the most part, you can see on the tickets that it's a guy for 8 hours. It's kind of hard to see on these copies. You know, it's 8 hour this day and 8 hour this day. I mean, we have all the tickets for all the times that somebody was there cleaning.
So is it true that we did not incur costs for cleanup at that level in the earlier time frame?
I think it was,
Throughout the
Will do.
summer?
We did. I don't think I don't have it here. I mean, there's a line item on every requisition under the Verdi lines that had to do with an allowance for cleanup. So we did pay for cleanup all the way from the beginning of the project up until probably September.
Why are we looking at a page that has a whole bunch of seemingly equipment and materials on it?
Yeah, but only one that they're charging. You just, there's a PPE charge here
Oh, okay,
for the guys that were working there.
got it.
And then, yes, there was,
Yeah, I didn't see, the bottom was cut off, so I didn't see
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So this is primarily labor, a little bit of overtime labor.
Got it. I still don't get how we get to the point of, if it's figured into part of the job and the fact that the job runs over, how does the cleanup run over? I know you have extra time that you're working on, but if it was part of the original cost of what it was going to cost to clean up the job site, I don't get how we get to.
The allowance was a little under what it should have been. And that's hard for any job to predict what you're gonna spend.
And wasn't the allowance probably a number put in there by your estimator?
Yes.
Rizzo's estimator or Enviro Consultants estimator?
Rizzo's. Usually allowances are put in by whoever's doing the cost estimating. Usually. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't like it. I don't know what to do.
We could ask, what was the amount that Rizzo included in the contract for cleanup originally? And how does that compare to this in terms of scope of work?
And correct me if I'm wrong, your original cleanup was an allowance amount.
Yes.
So that's what they would have figured in their bid for cleanup.
So why don't we look at what was quoted as an allowance and what was spent as an allowance from that
So-
allowance?
On Johnson, the cleanup allowance you see on this part of the application for payment, the cleanup allowance was 90,000 with an additional 60,000 for dumpster. So 90,000, I guess, would be the labor that we spent from April of 2019 through September of 2020. That was the 90,000 was the allowance.
And the dumpster
Oh, wait.
allowance,
Yeah, that's not, and you know what, that's not entirely accurate. The allowance was 90,000, but we did also increase, at some point, we increased those numbers as well. I don't know that I have here. You did approve an increase in the general conditions, which probably included a portion of that for cleanup. So I could put together what we actually spent on each project for cleanup. I could dig.
wasn't the additional cleanup more COVID related cleanup, or was it general
Yeah,
cleanup?
we did that too, but there was some of these allowances. So here where you see bid package 6 for general trades that Verdi bid on, a number of their scope items were done on an allowance basis. And then they also, you can see down, it says contract value for Verdi. They also had a $2.45 million contract for other work. They did like all the drywall, the framing, you know, stuff like that. Things that could be quantified ended up in that contract, that lump sum contract value. The things that either couldn't be quantified or I don't know, refresh my memory. I think this was part of, these were things that were not, they weren't defined at the beginning of the project. Rizzo was having trouble getting general trades contractors to bid, right? And so some of these things turned into an allowance.
Right.
All of the allowances were obviously hit, maximized. Some of these items also were exceeded, and there was a change order. I don't know. Now I go back to the change order log. There was a change order at some point for added. Yeah, here. So PCO 98, we gave them, then this was to Verdi. Additional money was approved for dumpster costs, site cleanup, temporary toilet rentals, and some temporary protection, some overtime in the amount of $24,000. So they hit the 90,000 for the cleanup. Some portion of this 24,000 was also additional cleanup. And now we're hitting another 60,000 for the last 5 months, also for cleanup.
So is it worth taking some time to rationalize the charges for cleanup with all the bits and pieces and make sure we've got it all right?
So what kind of info would it be good to have, Dave?
What kind of work?
What kind of info would it be good to have?
What was,
So
what was the original plan? What's spent? What's the request? Does it all make sense?
So on that change order, Geraldine, it says August, September, October, correct? Is that August, October 2020 or?
No, that was, no, August of 2020. I'm sorry, we're in 2021. Yes. So that additional general conditions would have gone August, probably here to October, right, on Johnson.
Yep.
This change order picks up October through February. So.
Got it.
Nancy, I don't know. I mean, I don't like it either, but the costs are itemized here. The project ran over, still had to get all this stuff done and cleaned up and what have you. And I don't know if there's any way around it, but accepting it. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure there's an answer. Obviously, Rizzo had to get the job done.
Right, and if Rizzo had to get the job done because we ran over the schedule they put forward, should they be responsible for it and not have it come out of our own contingency? So Dave Olson, back to your question, so you want to look at the original allowance for both jobs. Did we do a change order, Geraldine, on Rockwell also for August, September, October, or?
Yeah, I'm fairly.
So we need to know that amount, and we're going to compare it with this, Roy, or Dave, is that what you're thinking?
Yes, and it runs through February.
So this runs through February, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Is there any more cleanup to be added after February?
so that's a good question.
It is.
There'll be a little bit of dumpster charges.
And
Who loads the dumpsters?
who loads the dumpsters and who's cleaning stuff up?
Well, Enviro was doing our cleanup, and there was just some, couple lingering dumpster charges from Verdi that came in that I have to send over to you.
Is Enviro all done?
Dave asked, is Enviro Consultants done?
We have 'em coming in to do a little bit more work yet, yes.
A little bit more like a couple thousand, a little bit more like 50,000. What are we looking at?
No, nothing like 50,000, no, it would be a small amount.
I think
I think that's a good question that Dave has, see if we could get it, a closer budget to the completion of this. So at least we know the total amount.
Okay, so we're
Sure.
looking at some kind of comparison between what was originally put in the allowance. And that's all that cleanup allowance was all Verdi, you're saying, Geraldine, right?
Yes.
For that kind of like all around cleanup. Each sub was responsible for doing cleanup in their own areas and putting their own big stuff in the dumpster. And then that the change orders and looking at that amount and then this amount. And then what are we looking at? I'm guessing if we're looking at till the almost end of April, I would think, maybe mid-April or end of April, because we're looking at getting major stuff done. Are we still looking at cleanup after spring break?
I would expect that these sort of cleanup tasks would be done at Rockwell, right? Because we're not doing any work at Rockwell. There may be some lingering cleanup from the vestibule construction, but things like continuing punch lists through, through April should not be also incurring cleanup costs.
I don't think you will. I think you're right, Geraldine. It's basically and there's no reason why we can't put together a projection out to whatever it is. It's mostly going to be related to what's needed to clean up for the front vestibule of Johnson.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so we can get that together. And who's going to put that together? Is that you, Geraldine? Or are you or is Ken going to put that together, Jim?
Well, we'll put together the projection to completion, Nancy. We can also put together what was in the original allowance amount that Geraldine can take a look at that and see if he's looking for any more information.
Yeah, or I can do that, because honestly, since it was an allowance, all of the Verdi requisitions have the same information, the hours spent, what days they were there, because they've all got all the tickets attached. So I can put together a tabulation of what was included under the original allowances at each building, what you approved on the previous PCOs that brought us up to October. Then we can, add this information on these two PCOs that bring us to the end of the job. And then on Johnson, we'll add the projection that Rizzo comes up with for the completion of the vestibules.
And
have a total, then we can, we can compare what was done, what was included, how this PCO stacks up against that in terms of hours required. And you'll be able to see the total cost of cleanup against the total budget.
and whose contingency should bear the difference between the original estimate and the final?
Well, that's what this discussion really is about. It's being presented as a cost to be paid for by the owner out of their contingency.
I think we got to see the full list and make an evaluation from there.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. That was it for PCOs. I did circulate an additional PCO that had to do with those sleeves that are required for the technology connections pathways at Rockwell, but in rereading the base building scope and some notes on the drawings, we discovered that there was a requirement for the building for Ferguson and Mercury as the base, kind of technology, base building technology contractors to provide those holes in the wall and the sleeves and the access to the AV cabinet. So we're pulling that, we're withdrawing that PCO for consideration tonight.
Okay, and they're gonna take care of that?
Well, I don't, that was my direction. I haven't heard a response yet, but I would say, yes,
Yes,
they are going to
yes.
take care of that.
That's not an issue, Jim.
Yeah.
So do we need to discuss the Ferguson feeder thing?
Yes, I think so. So yes, so based on a conversation that Jim and I had last week, I guess it was, and an email that Ferguson sent to Rizzo and forwarded to the owner's team. They are, well, maybe I should, Jim, why don't you explain what Ferguson is looking for at this point?
Well, I'm not sure what they want to do with it, but they had sent an email looking, asking, who's authorized to negotiate on behalf of the school, which didn't really make sense, but, I did send that over to Gerald and thought about it a little bit. I didn't contact them after that, so I didn't get any additional feedback from them. When I did approach them, it was that the 75 was the final offer. So there really was no more negotiation. I don't know if they're thinking that by asking this, it opens the door for additional. What I spoke to Geraldine about was perhaps the response is fairly generic in that it's, the CM has been delegated by the owner to do the negotiation. So
Right.
This way you're not, I don't know. It seems like a cleaner way that you're not necessarily playing into what they're looking for.
So Ferguson is your subcontractor, right, Jim?
Correct.
Then I think we ought to designate you as negotiating this contract.
Correct.
As is the case with all change orders, they start with a submission to the construction manager, who reviews and revises or negotiates or passes them on to the owner. So this, in my opinion, shouldn't be treated any differently than any other change negotiation.
Well, and I would agree with that too. I would think that, at this point, then it would be up to Ferguson to write up a change order in the two different amounts for two different schools, for 65 for Johnson, the 10,000 for Rockwell, to us for approval. Does that seem reasonable?
Yep.
Now, but does Jim need the authorization? Is
Yeah,
that something,
I
a
think-
motion to give him the authorization, CM to negotiate that at the 65 and the 10?
Right. Yeah, and I think maybe that's just a response from Gerald and, essentially reiterating what's in the contract.
Right.
So I don't know if we need to specifically make motions, and that's, and we know where they get their information, so they're going to hear it tomorrow morning.
Give me a 2-day head start on those meeting minutes, though.
Well, it's not the minutes, Jim.
It's
Oh, yeah, you're probably
They-
right.
They listen to these recordings because they quoted you directly, and now they're going to hear this part. So
Right.
they listen as soon as the recording's posted. I'm sure they listen to it. They know how to do that. They know how to do all of it. So, if that's, and looking at the emails, because Geraldine shared them with me, if they're looking for our approval, we need to have something to approve. So as the representatives of the owner and of the town, we can only approve what we get in writing. Okay, so we're saying to you, Jim and Ken, have them write up a change order in those amounts, and we can look at it at our next meeting, I think is what we need to do.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's where they were going with this, and I'll certainly present that to them.
Okay, do you know where they were going?
It's their acceptance. If that were the case, it would be them just accepting the $75,000 offer. And then, yes, the formality would be they'd have to write it, submit a proposal for 65 and submit a proposal for 10. I don't think that's what they were looking for here, but again, I don't know.
Right, they didn't look at what has transpired so far as a negotiation.
But Ferguson's email says, and I'm reading this, so February 23rd, 2020 subcommittee recommended 65 for Johnson and 10 for Rockwell, 10,000 for Rockwell, 65,000 for Johnson, 10,000 for Rockwell. The commission authorized Rizzo to proceed to negotiate with Ferguson. As authorized, Rizzo continued their negotiation. Ferguson countered the offer at 87,000 total for both schools. During the March 9 meeting, Rizzo presented Ferguson's $87,000 offer to the committee, and the committee stated Rizzo had not been authorized to continue. I re-listened to the recording of the meeting, and kind of not what was said, not what we said. That was not what we said. We didn't want the amount. We were sticking with the 75. And so then the end of the email is, please request the authorized representative provide a formal written offer for 75,000 for Ferguson's review and consideration. It's not up to us to provide them with a written offer. They have to provide us with the written documentation of the change order for us to approve. I think that's where we are. And if I'm not right, let me know. Geraldine's nodding.
Yes,
Everybody else
yes.
is
I
like,
mean, and to back that up, all of the written offers, all the written PCOs that have been presented to date from Ferguson have been not accepted by the building committee or rejected. So I think that that process now continues. As you said, Nancy, present us with another revised PCO.
so then who should contact, well, not who, Jim, I think then needs to go back to Ferguson. And if you need us to help you write something up to send to them, Jim, let us know. Because like I said, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, they'll be listening to the recording of this meeting. You all can too. You can all see how pretty we all look on Zoom. So, whose heavy sigh was that? So Jim, are we
Yeah.
good with?
Yeah, I can request that of them, yes.
And I can email you something too.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So are there any other kind of things in the works that we need to kind of be aware of that we'll need to look at? I mean, if stuff's still being worked out, obviously we don't want to get worried about stuff we don't have numbers on.
Well, things that have been PCOs that have been presented that are still going back and forth, either review by, I'm not sure that there is anything currently in Perkins Eastman's court, but most of them probably are back with Rizzo, are listed on the PCO log. So you can see PCOs that have been presented that we've batted back and forth and asked for changes on. Other than that, the only things that I know of that we don't have a PCO on would be the only thing left at this point, which is not to say that other things aren't going to come up. I'm sure they are. But the whole issue of the pipe supports at Rockwell. But again, when and if a PCO on that comes in, the discussion on starting with the owner and the architect is going to be, those should not be owner costs. The subcontractor has to figure out how to hang their pipes. But again, that's a discussion that we are having. That is an ongoing discussion that we are having with the construction side. So it's not settled yet, but
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know of any major PCOs that are hanging out there that we're waiting for them to present. You can see what's currently been presented on the PCO log.
Great. Okay. Our next little bullet is professional services, additional service requests, which continues to be an ongoing exercise in gathering information and trying to figure out what to do. So I don't have anything specific to report on that. And then we have invoices. Was
Invoice.
there anything?
Nancy,
So, yeah,
can I just jump in? I have one small item. During the last tour we gave with the building committee, I was asked to get a quote to clean up that Johnson Hill facing the middle school.
oh,
And-
right, yep,
Right. Well, the contractor now that we use is winter's over now, so he started up. He gave me a quote of $2,500 to do all that cleanup work. And what it's going to extend to is right in the beginning of the pond, all the way to the front, going around, cleaning up all that brush, leaving the 3 mature trees that are there, and not interrupting any of the erosion control that's currently there, but just basically taking out all the scrub brush and just cleaning up all around that. So I told them that I will present that to the committee, but I was asked during the walk around by a few of the members to get this cost.
right. And I think John Menti brought that up either at
Yeah,
our last meeting or meeting
Right.
before.
Right. And I think it's a pretty good price, cutting out that scrub brush, the vines in the trees, trimming those trees, cleaning it up, because it really, it's part dressing up the whole front of the building a lot. And, it looks that's probably, I don't know, 8 feet wide by, I don't know how long, Bob, a couple hundred yards.
Yeah,
100
and
yards.
and what he told me is he would take away all that scrub that comes around heading into the bus loop as well.
Oh, good.
Clean that all up. That's all included. And then he said if he does it early enough, they can at least get the grass seed started.
That'd be good.
I'd make a motion to approve that or give Bob the authorization to do that.
I'll
I
second that.
I just need to send the quote to you guys. That's all.
Yeah, I think we need to have something in writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have
And
it.
then can we approve it before or amount not to exceed,
So
or
we-
should we wait?
Can we do it? Well, we may want to verbally approve it, because, as we weeks go on, it's getting warmer. These guys are going to get busier and busier.
And
And
then,
like Bob said, getting this grass seed down will be an important factor.
and the
I know,
next,
the this is
next meeting
Fairfield
isn't
County, right?
until April 13th. We've
Oh,
got 3
right.
weeks between meetings now, so it'll get kind of late.
He's not going to require a purchase order.
Right,
It's just
okay.
just a go ahead. That's all.
Bob, this is Fairfield County, right?
That's correct.
I mean, they've done a boatload of work through the school complex in the town.
I have a service contract with them for the grass cutting.
Right. So then can you get a written proposal, but we'll approve amount not to exceed?
Yeah, I already have it.
Okay. So somebody made a motion. Who made the motion?
I made a motion,
I
Roy.
second it.
John seconded it, amount not to exceed, you said 2,500,
2,500.
Yep.
including all the stuff that Bob said. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Done with that.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
So they are gonna do some seeding, et cetera, to make sure that all the weedy stuff doesn't grow back up, and we've got something just sort of growing there that's maintainable.
Right. Well, as Joe told me today, Joe from Fairfield, once he takes things out, he puts grass seed in.
Yeah,
But
okay.
he doesn't want to interrupt the erosion control that Rizzo's landscaper already has started to do.
Which
That
is
that work
appreciated.
that work needs to get done pretty quickly too, because you're getting some really heavy ruts into that hill.
Okay, so as long as he doesn't mess up anything that's
No,
in place, that's great.
no, but it's going to really show those ruts and dig marks into the dirt is really going to show once all that brush is out of there.
Well, if they've got ruts, we've got dirt to put in it, right?
That's true.
So, and that's at Johnson, to that, if you're facing the building, it's that far right-hand side, right?
Correct. As you pull
Yep.
into the front of Johnson, to your immediate right, that hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think we had talked about that, John Menti, way at the beginning of the project before we actually even started digging and construction and like that.
I
So,
think you're right, Nance, yeah.
yeah, I think you brought that up and kind of pointed it out and said, hopefully that'll get taken care of during the project, but it wasn't anything that was part of the project. So, but we'll get it taken care of now. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to get into our invoices that we have here. Where to start?
Where to start? What's on the top of your pile?
Well, I actually see you've got a couple of ESCs and a couple of other ESCs. So,
Okay, yeah, we have ESCs for security work, and then we have one ESC for AV work, and then some additional services that we approved for them. So ESC for security at Johnson. So this is part of their, their base contract to provide security services. This is, yes.
144. Okay. Yep.
144.
All right.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion that we approve ESC invoice number 118-711-7144
Second.
in the amount of $4,398.50.
Second it.
Gil seconds it. Any questions, et cetera, on this?
I would just point out that they still have almost $12,000 worth to bill, and that's more than enough to cover the little bit of work that they have left to do at the Johnson vestibule.
Okay, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None.
And
Rockwell
also
Security?
ESC security at Rockwell, yes.
145. Yep.
Yep.
So I make a motion that we approve the invoice from ESC number 187-145, the amount of $4,398.50. Why is it the same?
No idea.
Okay. Well, you got the back.
I do know now when we look down here. This has to do with the lobby, with the Raptor lobby guard. So it's the same equipment at each
Same
place.
thing,
We have
right.
acquired the
Yep.
equipment.
Right. I just looked at the next page. So, okay. So somebody second,
I'll second it.
Gil seconds. Any other questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. I noticed it when I was going over these because these two I have originals, the others I had to print.
So then do you have
So
this rock?
I have a Johnson FF&E.
It is Johnson. Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is AV work at Johnson.
Okay, so I'll make a motion.
Now I'm going to suggest that we not. So I think they're a little ahead of themselves because as we were talking about, they still have some work to do on the projector at the cafeteria because we're waiting for Ferguson to do some work. And I think that there are still monitors to be mounted, even though the monitors are on site. So actually this 800 is, woefully inadequate to cover all that work. I would suggest that we hold off on this.
Okay, I didn't even make a motion, so we'll table that.
Okay. Then these other ESC are actually, these have to do with change orders. We authorize them to relocate card readers within the admin suites at both schools. You had approved the quotes, and these are the invoices for that work. So at the Johnson 375.
They're both 375.
Okay, because they both, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve this invoice from ESC. I don't know if it has a number anywhere.
I don't see anything. I just
For
see
the relocation of the card reader at Johnson School in the amount of $375.
I'll second it.
Gil seconds it. Any questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. And
At Rockwell.
same thing, ESC, relocation of the card reader at Rockwell in the amount of $375.
I'll second it.
Gil seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. All right. What's next? STL, Special Testing Lab,
Sure.
Special.
STL, yep.
Let's see. I have those here somewhere. Yeah, not that one. There we go. So I'll make a motion that we approve invoice number 35166 from Special Testing Laboratories for Johnson in the amount of $1,064.
I'll second it.
Gil seconds. Just a question, are they still doing inspections? We still have stuff that they need to check, right?
Yes, so they're still at the vestibule at Johnson. And they're working on those pipe hanger issues at Rockwell. They will also be back at both locations when we do the spring field work, because there'll be compaction and
Right.
potentially paving. I don't know if they're inspecting the paving materials or what, but
Is there a budgeted amount for this and how are we doing with that? I
There
don't
was.
remember from.
I don't remember either. I think
Yeah.
obviously we can look at it.
Yeah, just curious. I didn't remember exactly.
I think we're over at one school and under at one school. So we're over at Johnson. It is over by about $6,000. We had budgeted $70,000 and we're at
Yeah.
about 76,000.
Okay,
I think Rockwell, we're a little bit less over, but we're over. Budgeted 50 and we're at 52.
Right. Okay,
But Rockwell, I think, should be, other than the additional work, we should be pretty close to, we should be close to finished at Rockwell. This, did we finish that Johnson invoice? Sorry.
not yet. I wish to vote. Just,
I'm back to it. Okay.
I was asking a question, so.
Yes.
But does anybody have any other questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. And then make a motion, we approve Special Testing Laboratories invoice number 35167 in the amount of $320.
I'll second it.
Gil seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Take another one. What do we got? Perkins Eastman?
Perkins, yep. Johnson, FF&E.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the invoice from Perkins Eastman, invoice number 68962.01.0-19 for Johnson FF&E in the amount of $3,855.
I'll second it.
Whoever, is that Gil?
Yeah.
Second, yep, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. And then Rockwell SS&E, FF&E.
And both of these bring their services to 100%, which is
For FF&E.
FF&E.
Good. So I'll make a motion, we approve Perkins Eastman invoice number 68961.01.0-18 for Rockwell FF&E in the amount of $2,062.50.
I'll second it.
Gil seconds it. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. And then one for the site we have, right?
Yes. Brings us to 90% of the site work.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve the invoice from Perkins Eastman, invoice number 68962.04.0-4 for site work at Johnson in the amount of $2,000, wait, yes, $2,156.25.
I'll second it.
that.
We got a couple people seconding it. We good? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Done. And then we have United. Do we have some from them? Yes.
Yeah,
Or are those
these,
Tito?
which one do you want to do?
Doesn't matter. Pick one. Pick one.
Well, let's do Lucido. This is for the electrical work to, at the bleachers at Johnson. So originally the bleachers were supposed to be manual. They graciously delivered motorized bleachers. We had Bob contract with Lucido instead of Ferguson because of cost issues.
So I have two invoices.
Yeah, sorry, there are two. I think there probably were 2 days or 2 visits or something like that. So there's the total.
So the total is the 3307.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. All right. I see it. Sorry. So,
Actually, I will
Let's
say
see.
this,
What's the
one
difference?
is to provide the service, the electrical, the power to the bleachers. And I think Bob mentioned this last week, or maybe the meeting before, that they actually had
Right.
to rewire the motors within the bleachers. So that
Right.
right.
And put the bleachers, they were never installed correctly. So
Right,
when they
so-
had it all apart, they redid all the the motor brackets and the actual arms.
So who was supposed to install them to begin with? And hopefully we didn't get charged for that.
Well, again, the bleachers were specified as manually operated. So
Got it. Okay.
I think that
Yep.
this, yeah, it wasn't that somebody didn't do they didn't do the work, but they probably weren't supposed to do the work originally. So,
Right. Because it was supposed to be a crank out kind of thing.
correct.
Right. So I am going to make a motion that we approve the invoices from Lucido Electrical Contractors. Invoices number 109435 and 109436. Total amount of both invoices, $3,307.16.
I'll second it.
Okay, who was that?
Gil.
That was
Gil.
Gil, okay. Any other questions on this? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Doing my paperwork here while and then United Alarm.
So now these 2 United Alarm invoices are a little bit problematic. This is for the, this was to provide the local area network connections in the panel, in the alarm panel. This scope of work kind of hung out there, not done by Ferguson for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. At one point, we just said, give them their notice, their 3-day notice. Bob will get United Alarm to do it because they said that they could do it, again, cheaper. And they could come, they would order the parts out and come right out. So in the meantime, Ferguson did come back and I'm not even sure who ended up actually doing the work. But
United did. They came the actual same day United was installing it.
Okay. Right. So, okay. So United did the work. Ferguson didn't do the work. And we had presented both of these invoices for Johnson and for Rockwell to Rizzo for payment or to back charge Ferguson. And at this point, they're past due for 3 months. So I'm suggesting that the project cover these invoices, and we still require a credit purchase order from the construction contract in these amounts in order to square up the budget. But instead of jeopardizing the town's account here with United Alarm any longer, I'm suggesting that we should pay it as we have done with some other invoices in the past.
Okay, and some of up with this to make sure we do get that credit or back
Yes,
charge.
we will. We absolutely will.
Okay. because it is dated 12/24/2020.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve United Alarm invoice number 384087 for Johnson School for the installation. Do they provide the cards too, or did they? Because weren't you having trouble getting the cards?
Well, that was the, yes, that
Programming.
was the word from Ferguson, was that they had trouble getting them. But
Okay. So for the land cards and installation of them at Johnson in the amount of $564.28.
Least expensive one so far. I'll approve or second it.
Okay, Gil seconds, all in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
or anybody opposed? And same for Rockwell United Alarm, invoice number 384088 for Rockwell School, providing and installing the land cards in the amount of $652.28.
Second.
I'll second it.
Dave Olson seconds, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, done. Then we have STV, correct? Last but not least.
last ones.
Which one is it? Johnson. I got the Rockwell one. I make a motion that we approve the STV invoice number 90020236 in the amount of $8,355.
Second.
Second.
Okay, and this is for the month of February. Because we did catch up
We did, yeah.
last time. Okay. All right, so we had a second from, I think, Dave. Any other questions on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Done. And last, we hope, because I don't have any more.
All I got.
Oh, we got invoice from STV number 90020237 in the amount of $5,388. Again, for the month of February.
I'll second it.
Gil seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Anything else? Are we going to set a new world record for short meetings?
Yeah.
Well,
So I can go watch a basketball game for my birthday.
Yes.
You're all getting cake delivered to your doors at 9 o'clock. So stand at the front door and wait. So do we have anything else? I know we're not having a OAC meeting this week, but there will be one next week, the beginning of April. Our next meeting is until the 13th, and that's smack in the middle of break. So hopefully we'll have a lot of progress to report. And is there anything else anybody needs or any questions anybody has before we finish up schools? Gil, Roy, and Menti, and you got to stay with me for a few more minutes. We're all good?
Good. Good night, everybody.
All right, thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night,
Take care.
everyone.
Happy birthday.
Good night. Thank you.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, no singing. All right, so I'll just give you a very brief update and then I can email everybody too. On the police station, there was a letter sent specifically from the town, the attorney that the town hired that's working on, Attorney Robinson, sent the letter a couple of weeks ago to Downs and then, a week later hadn't heard anything. So I emailed Jeff Anderson just to make sure he had gotten it, because the first couple of letters that were sent were addressed to Ryan, and Ryan hadn't been in the office in months. He'd been out in the field and he just didn't get the letters. Jeff said, yes, I received the letter. They were working on a reply and they're also working on a plan to get started. So that's a good thing. So we could see some work being done there as early as April. But pretty much the agreement was to do kind of along the lines of what was in the Hoffman report, because the Becht report agreed with that. where there's some areas that are going to be cut out and repointed. CT Masons has work to do. And then there would be some cleanup of the front. There'd be the caulking and other stuff that needs to happen up around the top of the roof. Some extra flashing installed, and then the 3 coats, coat of primer, and then the 2 coats of the elastomeric coating. So that was spelled out in the letter, and there'll be a reply coming from Downs on that. And again, hopefully work starting in the spring. It's spring now, so soon.
Good.
And that's pretty much what I have for that. And then we're supposed to do election of officers, which I told John we were not going to put aside this week. But now that we don't have Perna and Dino, and who else can't come? Oh, Dave Horvath, we need everybody here to do that. So we're going to have to wait again. And basically what we elect the chair and a vice chair according to charter every year. It's something we have to do. So
Well, they're not here, so we should just elect them.
elect them. Yeah, I don't know. We probably shouldn't do that. We could tell them that we did.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, right. All right, so I think that's kind of it. And next time, John Menti, when you say it's too late, but we still have them, we're not going to wait because it wasn't too late last time. Only 9 o'clock. So
We got 5 more minutes to the game time.
5 minutes to run and watch a game. All right, so somebody want to make a motion to
I make a
adjourn?
motion to
Kathy,
adjourn.
your friend.
So Gil makes a motion to adjourn. Kathy's cat seconds it. Roy seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Good night.
Okay,
Good night. See you next
Good
time.
night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Night.